What if Deku was a legendary Super Saiyan? Part 5. So, last time I left off right at the Stain arc, and in this video we're going to be covering that today. So yeah, Deku won and chose Night Eye's agency this time as he didn't have to go to Gran Torino's. And he's still going to go to Hosu City just because Night Eye told Mirio and them to go, right, as he could see the attack of the Nomus and stuff. So he told them there, and Deku's like, oh yeah, didn't Ida come here? Oh yeah, wasn't his brother? Oh no, I think he might be trying to get revenge. So Goku tells Mirio this, and he's like, alright, let's go search for him. They go around searching for him, and they end up finding him in this back alley corner, and Deku never texts Todoroki his location because he doesn't need Todoroki anymore because he has Mirio. So they're like, oh, no, they're staying. And Mirio's like, we gotta take him down. And Deku's like, okay. And then he sees Ida because he was searching for them, but they saw Stain first, and he's like, what? Ida, what are you doing here? He's like, it's none of your business. Don't go away. It's my fight. And Deku's just like, Ida, why'd you come here for revenge? And then Deku charges at Stain, and with his super speed just starts bouncing around everywhere, kind of like Gran Torino. And Stain's like, what's he doing? And then Deku just appears right behind him and flicks him right at Mirio, and Mirio one punches him up in the air. Now Stain's already knocked out by this, and that's like the whole Stain arc just happened right there, just from how strong Deku's gotten. So at the hospital, they're visiting Ida, and the dog police officer says, you guys use your quirks without a license, so you can give all the credit to Mirio, because he has a license, or you can take all the credit and be considered villains. And they're like, okay, obviously we're gonna give all the credit to Mirio, and only them actually know who actually defeated them. And that's basically it. The interviews end, and then we're at the start of the training camp arc. And instead of Bakugo, they want Deku, because they saw how mad Deku got, and they want to try and manipulate him from how mad and the power that he has, because with that power, he can pretty much destroy anyone. So, the same thing goes, they go and, one of the wild pussycats, makes all the people fall down, but instead of falling, Deku just floats there, and he's like, well, I'll see all you guys there. Uraraka, seeing this, catches his leg, and she's just holding him as he flies, making herself light so he wouldn't notice. And then they get there, and he's like, huh, I'm the only person here. And then he sees Uraraka, and he's like, wait, how'd you get here so fast? I kind of held your leg. And Deku's like, huh, that's pretty smart. What should we do now? And they just go inside the house place and just rest up. It's going to be another 3 hours before the rest of the kids get there, and like another hour before the teachers get there. And when the teachers get there, like, huh, nobody's gotten here yet. And then they hear like scrambling inside the house. They go in to see that there's 2 kids there, and they're like, what? How'd you guys already get here? And then one of the pussycats says, oh yeah, I saw that kid flying. She grabbed onto him, and it's like, yeah. So they did that. and all that happened. And now they make dinner, eat it, and then the next day they go through harsh training. Now, they already know Deku's way too strong for their training, and he just asks them, can he just do his own training? Can he just do his own training out in the forest? And they're like, oh yeah, sure. And like a week's already passed of him just doing his training out in the forest, and that's when the villains arrive. And Deku sensed them, and he rushes over and tells Mr. Aizawa the villains are here. He's like, huh. And they go out and tells Pixie Bob, I think, to use her quirk to tell everyone that they can use their quirks against the villains. And then she's like, Koda! And Deku's like, I'll go get him. And he rushes over there to see Muscular about to kill Koda with a huge smash. And Deku's just standing there, and he just zooms right by and headbutts him, kind of just like, he pretty much headbutts him. So imagine how Goku killed King Piccolo, but without like the arm. He just headbutts him straight on and just breaks right through his stomach, and he's like, how dare you try and hurt someone so little? And he's like, I'm a villain, I don't care about this. And Deku and then Muscular just instantly just gets knocked out from the pain that he's going through, and Deku just grabs Koda, and he's like, are you okay? And Koda's like, yeah. And then Koda's like, I'm sorry for punching you in that spot. And he's like, oh yeah, it's fine. So all that happens, done, and then Deku goes out searching for more villains to catch, because he wants more, because he's battle hungry, he wants more blood, basically. Not like, but he just wants to, like, be the hero of everything. So he runs out, he sees Moonfish and Tokiyami trying to take care of it, and then he yells at Todoroki and Bakugo to use their light to make Todoroki or Tokiyami not be so powerful. They do that while Deku just one punches Moonfish in the mouth, breaking all his teeth, so his quirk is basically disabled. So, and Deku is just carrying Muscular and Moonfish, and that's when he goes, and like Koda's just there with him, and that's when he takes Koda back, and that's when I think it's magnetism or Splinter. I can't really remember the names, but the lizard and the guy carrying that big like metal pole around, he goes there, gives Koda to them, and then he's like, do you want me to handle them? And they're like, handle them? How? We're having enough trouble as it is, and we're pro heroes. And then Deku's like, oh, you'll see. He cracks his knuckles, just gets a flicker at, and he puts his hand into a flick position, teleports right behind each of them and just flicks them, and they go flying. And he catches both of them and says, here, and he gives all 4 of the villains to them. And they're like, what? How? How'd this kid do that? And they're just like, oh my god. And Deku's not even using any of his ki. He's like barely even using any % of his power, because he could basically destroy the whole planet if he used his full power. So all that passes, and then he ends up hearing Shoji, and he rushes over to see he's fighting Mr. Compressed twice and Toga, that have all come together after pretty much losing to 4 of their fighters. So they're ganging up on them. And Toga sees Deku and she just starts freaking out, and Deku just comes behind her and just chops her right in the neck, making her pass out. And they're like, "What? How'd you do that, kid?" And he goes right up to Twice, does the same thing, but this time it just is a mud pile, and he looks back behind him and he sees Twice about to punch him, and he just teleports instantly behind him, flicks him right into a tree, breaking a ton of trees as he just goes flying the other way. Deku goes, ties them up to a tree, and then is about to take care of Mr. Compress when Dabi and Shigaraki show up. But Shigaraki was trying to hide, but he says, "It's time to go. You got Bakugo, right?" As he asks Mr. Compress, and he's like, "Yeah, we got Bakugo." And then basically they teleport out, but Deku tries to sprint over, and he's able to land a punch on Mr. Compress, but the marble of Bakugo's still there, and then something happened to Kirigiri's quirk, and he's like, "What?" And nothing happens, and then he sees Mr. Aizawa with his hair standing up, and he's like, "Oh, he erased my quirk." And then Shigaraki's like, "I guess we're gonna have to fight them." And then Mr. Aizawa says, "Do you need any help, Deku?" And he's like, "No, leave them to me," as he watches them. And then Deku asks, "Please don't erase their quirks. If they get away, we'll end up dealing with it later." And he's like, "What are you planning, Deku?" And then he runs up to Mr. Compress, but Mr. Compress uses his quirk and instantly puts him into a little marble, and Mr. Aizawa was like, "What? Dang it, Deku. Incompetence means you lose." And then they're like celebrating, "Yes, we got this kid. We'll probably be able to turn him into the dark side." And then there's just this shaking all around them, and they're like, and Shigaraki can pretty much sense this power. Just like, he's like, "What? Why is there shaking?" And like the whole place is just shaking. And they're like, "What?" And then Mr. Compress puts out the marble Deku's in his hand, and it's shaking, and he's like, "What's going on?" And then it just breaks. Deku broke the marble from inside with his sheer power. And then he's like, you thought you could keep me in there? My power outwith all of you guys. None of your quirks can keep me away." And they're just like, "What? How?" And then they're just yells at Kirigiri to get them out of there. And this time Kirigiri doesn't hesitate, and he instantly gets them out of there before Mr. Aizawa can cancel their quirk. So they have Bakugo, and Deku's like, "Dang it. Yeah, I broke the other marble too." Then Bakugo wouldn't be with them right now, and they're trying to turn Bakugo. So now we're gonna go all the way to the villain bar, and they're like asking Bakugo to join them. Like, why such potential as a villain go to heroism? He's like, "I don't want to be a villain. I want to be a hero." And they're like, "Yeah, with that attitude, you'll always be close to us as villains." And he's like, "No, I won't." And all the heroes are planning an attack, but this time they actually go to Deku. They go to Deku and ask him, "Please come with us." Because they know the sheer power that Deku has had. And they're like, "Please come with us. We need you on this fight." And they said it's going to happen in 3 weeks. So please just train as hard as you can. So that's where I'm going to leave it off here for now, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy. And in the next part, I'm going to be talking about the fight with All for One and All Might and Deku. And please leave your suggestions for tomorrow is going to be a new What If series. I'm not stopping with the What If Deku was a legendary Super Saiyan. I'm just going to make another series, which I'm kind of leaning towards what if Deku had Goku Black's powers. So I hope you guys did enjoy. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. More What If videos every single day. See ya, guys. Bye.